Ohio State has a long history of epic quarterbacks dominating the Big Ten, winning national championships, 39 conference championships, but for whatever reason, at the next level, nobody has ever produced. Troy Smith, Terrell Pryor, Cardale Jones, JT Barrett, rest in peace Dwayne Haskins, Justin Fields, the jury's still out. Despite the Ohio State being an elite program, drafting a Buckeye quarterback has literally never worked out. Is that the school's fault? Is it the program's? The coaching? Are they cursed? Whatever reason you can come up with, CJ Stroud is about to prove it all wrong. After back-to-back 40-touchdown seasons and top 4 Heisman finishes, I'm here to show you why any Ohio State quarterback curse is a myth, because Stroud is about to end that conversation once and for all. The main reason Ohio State quarterbacks have struggled at the NFL level is because their supporting casts are always so much better than their opponents, so while they excel in college, their deficiencies are masked by their superior surrounding talent. Their offensive lines are better than your pass rush, their wide receivers will burn right past your corners, the quarterbacks have all day to throw, and their receivers win every contested catch. This makes it harder to evaluate and project the position since the quarterback struggles just aren't going to pop up as often. So with Stroud, we have to really dive into the tape. He is one of the smoothest operators I've seen in the past several years. He has good timing, good footwork, and amazing ball placement, which are all attributes that will immediately translate to the next level. The ball placement is his most impressive trait, where he's able to literally throw receivers open on plays where they're completely covered. On 3rd and 7, they have this isolated hitch route outside against straight man coverage, and Stroud makes something out of nothing. By the time he releases the ball, the corner is about to drive on the throw, and with a reasonably perfectly accurate pass, honestly this would get taken back to the house for 6. But he pinpoints it on the outside of the frame of his receiver, so a pass that is blanketed by the corner actually turns into a yards after catch explosion and a touchdown. Timing plus ball placement is his recipe for NFL success, where a combination of those two skills are an incredible foundation for any quarterback prospect. Here they motion their slot receiver across and a safety rotates down to match him, so Stroud knows it's zone since there's not a cornerback running with him, and up top they have a one-high safety zone beater. With a curl and a seam, there's a lot of stress put on the zone corner who has to be deep enough for the inside vertical, but also has to worry about the curl underneath him. Stroud knows that typically the corner and safety switch responsibilities, so he knows to complete the pass he has to beat the safety with the throw, and with great timing and great ball placement, he hits his man to set things up for later. You can see the strain put on the corner, both from the stress of the concept and from the precise timing of when the ball is released. So then later in the game, they run the same concept where they again motion the slot, and this time a linebacker matches, still a zone tell since it's again not a cornerback, because Iowa needs to use their safety to replace the other linebacker on a blitz. Stroud has to play on time to defeat that blitz with good ball placement, and because he hit the curl last time, the corner can't fly over the top. He releases this with good anticipation, knowing the linebacker is again zooming to the curl, and throws this perfectly up the seam. As I said, because of great offensive line play at the Ohio State, you don't get to see the prospect under pressure as often, which is a key part of playing the position. Stroud was pressured just 26.5%, which was 155th highest in the nation, so you have to really evaluate the few times he's pressured on film, and not being phased at all with the backer coming right up the gut shows that he can handle a muddy pocket. He's got the great timing, but also great processing, where he can get through multiple reads while staying smooth as ever. This is actually the same two-lane bear concept we talked about last week, where he picks a side pre-snap and confirms it post-snap to figure out where to throw. Ohio State motions their running back outside, and we have a dilemma. If the cornerback Johnny Dixon matches, we know it's zone coverage, like we said, and if the safety Jonathan Sutherland matches, it's man coverage, since if like Dixon matched the back, Sutherland would have to guard a receiver, which is a mismatch. To mess with Stroud, Dixon and Sutherland switch before the snap, so now it's a man tell, so let's find out what that means for the concepts. Stroud will target the slot fade and bear if he sees it's man coverage, check, and if there's one deep safety, check again, since that one safety can't get over the top. However, if it's any other coverage, he'll completely ignore bear and just go right to two-lane, which gets open against a wide variety of coverages. Penn State tries to trick him by rotating the other safety down. 95% of the time, this is a one-high safety indicator, but Penn State is deploying an exotic coverage called Cover 2 Zone Invert, where our guy corner Johnny Nixon is playing the other deep half safety spot, which isn't his position. Almost any other college quarterback would see the safety rotating down and think it's one high, And remember, they put their safety outside pre-snap telling Stroud it was man, but he calmly reads it out, eliminates all 3 reads when he sees Dixon dropping back, and then progresses backside over the middle, which is not easy late in the down since there are so many bodies in that area. Before we move on, I'm not trying to start an OnlyFans here or anything, but look at Stroud's feet. He's perfectly in control, but it almost looks like he's dancing, they're so soft. Bill Walsh himself said he could tell if a quarterback had completed a pass just by watching his feet. Well, signed Walsh up for $5.99 a month. Later in the game, Penn State tries to fool Stroud again by still rotating a safety down, but keeping the corner in his usual spot, meaning they're now playing one high safety. He reads it out and with great timing and ball placement hits his receiver over the middle of the field. He's been criticized for being a bit too robotic and not being able to extend with mobility, but I'd counter that he didn't really need to move around because of how good Ohio State's pass protection is. That is, until the Georgia game, where he dropped 350 yards and 4 tuds and was running for his life. He doesn't have great mobility, but certainly has enough. He's not going to factor into the QB running game at all, so I could see why maybe, especially in today's NFL, that could knock his value down a bit. But against Georgia, he proved that his mobility is without a doubt not an issue. When we look at his other issues, there's seriously, honestly nothing glaring. I do want to highlight some things just because they popped up on tape, and I want to be honest with you guys, there are things that he can improve on, but nothing I really worry about as serious, fatal flaws. There were a couple of times where he didn't really master the protection aspect. Sometimes he didn't know where his problem defender was, meaning if there's a defender who blitzes, they can overload the protection. Stroud has to be aware whenever this might happen, since it changes where his eyes go after the snap and who will try and target. But it only happened a few times, where I'm not too worried about it. While he does have incredible ball placement and an incredible arm, he has the propensity to fail to put the right touch on the ball, where, while he does have great accuracy to all areas, a lot of his deeper throws were on a line rather than floated over the top, which is a problem because it gives the receiver a bad angle and increases the level of difficulty on Stroud since you have to be perfect with your placement rather than letting the receiver run under the ball. He had a couple easy misses rolling out on the run where he would just dirt throws or be surprisingly inaccurate. Once again, he is capable of making all these plays. I think just tightening up his mechanics a bit will really be key here, and then he'll be totally fine. The last thing I want to touch on is really something I saw pop up mostly just in his first game of the season, this Notre Dame game, and a lot got cleaned up throughout the season, but there was a lack of aggression sprinkled in throughout his film. This is 3rd and 15, and we have a concept that every NFL team runs, double swirls with a sit-down dig route, where the quarterback is coached to read the squeeze. Notre Dame is running a pretty exotic look, which is cover 3, but with this safety dropping way back deep, they're also only rushing 3 actually, so there's a lot of guys running around, but at the end of the day, it's cover 3 zone with these 2 defenders in the hooks. Stroud has to read each of them to see who squeezes on the dig, which will then open up the swirl to that side. And when the field hook tightens inside a bit, he needs to make this throw here to try and convert the first down, but he hesitates. None of these issues are things I'm super worried about, just issues that I wanted to share to be fully transparent. He has more than shown that he is a legit prospect that is worthy of the #1 overall pick, and watching his film today, and this past week especially, shows why there is this stigma with Ohio State quarterbacks. Throughout their history, they've almost always been surrounded by superior levels of talent compared to their opponents, save for a college playoff game here and there the last few years. But they always were surrounded by elite players compared to not elite players on the other side of the ball. This masks their quarterback's weaknesses, only shows their strengths, and doesn't allow them to learn how to deal with the necessary adversity until they get to the NFL level, which by then it's too late. I'm here today to tell you that CJ Stroud is the guy to change all of that. He has an incredible smoothness to his game that translates to any style of offense, and his combination of amazing ball placement with great timing will help him succeed wherever he goes. I would take him first overall over Bryce Young. The only thing I'd be worried about is that Young seems to have this it factor that's hard to define, and he is better than Stroud in several areas, but his size is worrisome, and Stroud is so solid in so many categories, I'd take him 1 overall. His talent is undeniable, and the core foundation of his game works anywhere on any team. Ohio State has a long history of doom and gloom at the quarterback position at the next level, but not anymore. CJ Stroud has what it takes to break that curse, explode into the league, and cement Ohio State as the birthplace of a legit QB1.